Hearing a lot of talk about MJF and his short AEW title reign, and how this year specifically in AEW we have seen a number of short world title reigns, and they're saying that because of this short title reign for MJF specifically, that it's diminishing the power, the drawing power, and our ability to believe that he is a main event top guy in AEW. And frankly, I think they're wrong. I think that this is, and this is of course just my opinion, but I don't believe that this hurts MJF in any way. MJF has had a few title reigns now with the World Championship, one that lasted over a year not too long ago. And for a while, AEW had a lot of fairly long title reigns. I believe CM Punk had a short reign because he was injured, and then they gave Jon Moxley the interim championship, and then Moxley dropped it to CM Punk. So that was kind of like a quick transition. I think Swerve had it for a few months, so it wasn't that long. Hangman Adam Page's second title reign wasn't that long, and subsequently his first title reign wasn't that long either. But other than a few of those title reigns, most of the world title reigns have been fairly long, have gone upwards of 5 to 6 months, which I would consider long title reigns, definitely not transitional. And when you look at the main event card, the main event roster, the rankings of main eventers in AEW, frankly, there is just an assortment of top guys that deserve shots at the AEW World title. So I don't fault them for putting themselves in a situation where you have quick defenses. As a wrestling old head growing up in the 90s, during the Crash TV era of WWF, there was several title changes, some of which that happened on Raw, some that happened on a pay-per-view, and then a month later, they would lose the world title. This was to establish that the main event scene was filled with so much talent that on any given Sunday, there can be a title change, and that was exciting. Now, I don't believe they should do that going forward, but it's nice to have a balance. And furthermore, with MJF's short title reign, I don't believe that diminishes him or defies him down to upper card and that he won't be legitimized as a main eventer going forward. I look at this as MJF is the top guy in AEW. Plain and simple. It's more so closer to an objective opinion than a subjective opinion because he checks off so many boxes. He is a guy that can generate interest. He can bring fans into arenas. He's a great sell in the ring and out of the ring. He's great on the microphone. We understand the character. He looks like a champion. He's great with press. He is a great professional wrestler and really checks all the boxes as a professional wrestler. We've seen him brawl. We've seen him do hardcore stuff. We've seen him do the technical stuff. He can fly. He can work Iron Man matches, for crying out loud. There's literally nothing that you can put MJF in that wouldn't become a great match. So because he does all of that he checks all those boxes, when you have someone like an MJF, like how Jim Crockett Promotions or the NWA or WCW had Ric Flair, or back in the day they had Hulk Hogan in the WWF, or Shane Douglas or Rob Van Dam in ECW, you have to build superstars around your greatest talent, around your franchise player, because in order to legitimize your main event, you've got to make it seem like the talent is abound. A robust roster of talent that looks like they can beat MJF at any point, that actually can look like they're to the level of MJF. Like, was Jerry Lynn on the level of Rob Van Dam in ECW? Some would say in the ring, yes, but on the mic, not really, right? Hulk Hogan. Actually, Hulk Hogan is kind of a bad example in the WWF because he didn't really help build up the roster around him. He just had, there were builds for these guys to get beaten down. They built up monsters that ended up losing to the hero in the WWF. But with Ric Flair made Sting in basically one night. He had Ricky Steamboat. He tried to build up Barry Windham. he worked with Tully Blanchard and Ronnie Garvin and all of these guys, Lex Luger, that he would build and help legitimize the NWA/WCW world title scene. You need that. And if MJF is going to be your Ric Flair, if he's going to be your franchise player, then other guys got to get a shot at the ball. They got to get a shot as a champion. And the only way they can get a shot as the champion is by beating MJF. He can't hold the AEW World Championship forever. Long title reigns are great, but long title reigns where MJF is just going through talent one by one and beating all these guys that haven't had a chance to really define if they're even capable of becoming a superstar in AEW or if they're even capable of getting butts in the seats. And you have an opportunity with a Will Ospreay to do just that. Kenny Omega, we know that he has had injuries. We know that he has diverticulitis. We know that he's not long for AEW, that he's more than likely going to go into a part-time schedule fairly soon. He's going to start working really small schedules, more minimized than it's already been. So you want to give him that opportunity to have that AEW world title run. It could be his last run. So I don't think they're booked into a corner at all. I think MJF can still have that opportunity to get revenge and have another AEW world title reign. I don't think that they've exhausted the resources for MJF. It's simply what they're doing is they're giving MJF an opportunity to feud with somebody that is close to or appears to be close to his level. This is to schedule for the next 5 years. You have a really young main event right now. You have Swerve. You have Will Ospreay. You have MJF. Darby Allin's been a former AEW World Champion. I don't see why he wouldn't get another opportunity. You have Hangman Adam Page is going to come back. I know he's not able to get an AEW World title shot, but there can be a loophole that gets him back into that world title picture. Who knows? You have a number of guys that are ready to become main event guys, like Kyle Fletcher, Konosuke Takeshita. They're young, and they're doing their best to stand out and establish themselves in the hierarchy of the AEW main event scene. So in order to do that, you really need to let MJF step aside, give these guys an opportunity to hold the ball and see what they do with it. So I've seen this stuff going around the internet, and I just wanted to interject and give you my subjective opinion that I do not believe that MJF losing the AEW world title is diminishing him or holding him back, or now there's nothing left for him to do and he might as well just wait out his contract and go to the WWE. I don't subscribe to that. I don't believe that to be the truth. And now the question going forward is what MJF is going to do going into All In. And I've seen a number of people saying that, Hangman Adam Page can come back and look for revenge for MJF screwing him out of ever getting another AEW world title shot again. That is definitely a road to go down. For the life of me, I do not remember if Swerve and MJF have ever had a singles match. Doesn't seem like Swerve is doing anything as of yet, getting into the build for All In. You can pit those two against each other, and I think you have some fantastic television. Swerve was, I think the last time I seen Swerve and MJF have an interaction was a backstage thing where they were going back and forth when Hangman Adam Page was involved. And I think they've had a triangle match or three-way dance or something like that, triple threat match before, but never in a singles match in AEW. So that's a first time ever singles match between Swerve and MJF. Haven't had that many opportunities to have first ever matches of that magnitude in AEW, so why not? And Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega, I know they've wrestled before at Forbidden Door, but that was when Will Ospreay was a part of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So you're building up two matches that we really haven't seen a lot of in AEW. So I think right there you have a really strong main event card right there, an upper card, main event card. So I really don't see where people think that this is the end of MJF and he's going to be left out of the world title picture. I think if anything, he can be in the upper to main event card and help build some guys up to that main event. I think it's good idea to do that if you really want to establish these younger guys that are really trying to get their foot in the door and really trying to establish themselves as more than just another wrestler on a robust AEW roster that's trying to get their foot in the door and win the world title. AEW doesn't really cater to the types of storylines where you get emotionally invested in who they are as a person more so as what they're doing in the ring. AEW focuses on what they're doing in the ring, and they're trying to establish these stories to get you emotionally invested. And I've been very invested in Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega's story, where Jon Moxley has kind of been the monkey on the back for Will Ospreay. And it reminds me of so many things. It reminds me of a lot of sitcoms where they've had those special episodes like Family Matters and Full House and things like that, where, or Saved by the Bell, where the one kid has a best friend and he starts hanging out with the biker gang, and you're like, dude, you're losing it. Why are you hanging out with these troublemakers? And the best friend is just kind of feeling like, that guy's changing a little bit. And I like that idea a lot. I think that's really good television. And if it's executed correctly, it could make for a really big moment at All In. And MJF doesn't need to be a part of that moment. MJF can be swimming around that moment, the shark in the water, to try to get in Will Ospreay's head and make him further go into that dark side. And then you add Hangman Adam Page in the mix, and you've seen Hangman Adam Page's story. You've watched him become consumed with the AEW World Title, so much so that he's lost all his friends, so much so that he literally lost his mind and burnt down Swerve Strickland's home. So Hangman can be the angel on the shoulder of Will Ospreay, while MJF is the devil, literally the devil on the shoulder. There's so many different ways that you can go with it. I think it still includes MJF. He just doesn't need to have the title in order to do that. So that's my 2 cents on the matter. I just thought I'd come on here and just give you my 2 cents. My subjective opinion, guys. It's just my opinion. But I'd love to know what you guys think. Do you think because MJF lost the AEW World Title after a fairly quick reign, little over a month after beating Darby Allin, that defines him down a little bit? Or do you think this is just a mere moment in time where they're doing quick title reigns, quick transitions, because they're trying to establish how strong their main event card really is? Love to hear you guys talk about it in the comment section down below. And if you like these videos and more, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notifications bell, because I'll always be reporting from the Portal of Pro Wrestling going forward. This is the Wrestling Old Head, you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next one.